Hey guys, and welcome back. It's been a while now since NewJeans' first hearing on the matter of the validity of their contracts with ADOR. That initial hearing took place back in April, and the second one kicked off on June 5th. If anything, this second hearing felt more like a preview hinting at the bigger developments expected in the third trial, which is scheduled for July 24th. NewJeans didn't attend the second hearing, just like they didn't show up to the first. There could be a few reasons for that. Maybe their presence wasn't required, perhaps their legal team advised against it, or maybe it simply came down to logistics, with all the members currently in Melbourne, Victoria. It seems they've been taking some time to relax abroad, while their legal team handles the courtroom side of things. The trial was initiated by the 41st Civil Division of the court, asking if either side have any wishes to come to a settlement. This isn't a new statement, as it has been asked on their first hearing as well. The court indicated their disapproval for the lack of settlement, especially considering the complexity of the case. ADOR's legal team responded by saying, if the court comes to a decision regarding this case, then a settlement will be easy enough. This mirrors their previous position from the first hearing, where they had also indicated interest in a potential settlement, though always after a court ruling. It seems their approach hasn't changed. They are open to resolving things, but only once the court sets a precedent. NewJeans' legal team, however, was firmly against the idea of settlement. During the first hearing, they cited the members' mental health as the reason for rejecting settlement talks. This time, their argument shifted to a more final tone. They stated that the relationship of trust has been completely shattered, and went further to say the NewJeans members have crossed a river and can no longer return. Dramatic? Sure. It's a cryptic way of putting it, but the message is clear. They're not interested in repairing the relationship with ADOR. Both parties have started to introduce their reasoning for their side of the story, which will start the evidence introducing during the next hearing, meaning that no evidence was presented during this hearing, but will be during the next. NewJeans' legal team argued that ADOR failed to fulfill its essential duties of management as outlined by the management contract. The contract itself is what's being challenged in court. Their claim centers around the fact that after driving out Min Hee-jin, ADOR underwent abrupt changes in the management. This refers to the leadership shift after Min Hee-jin's removal, based on suspicions, still unconfirmed, that she had been attempting to take over ADOR. NewJeans' team argued that this change caused the group to lose their creative and operational independence, stating NewJeans lost all independence. They also claimed that despite numerous requests to correct ADOR's mistakes, ADOR failed to comply. This likely points to the group's previous requests voiced in their private live stream for Min Hee-jin to be reinstated as both CEO and creative director. For context, while she was removed from the CEO position, she had voluntarily resigned as creative director. After ADOR didn't meet their demands, NewJeans held a press conference and publicly declared their intent to terminate their contracts. ADOR strongly pushed back on that. They fired back by saying, every hearing, NewJeans changed up their reason for why they decided to terminate their exclusive contracts. Their timeline? First, it was about trust issues, then mistreatment, and now independence. Their point? They said that this shows that they came to the decision to terminate their contracts first, and are now trying to find some reason to validate their actions. Essentially, they are accusing NewJeans of leaving the company due to some other motive, and are now trying to come up with an excuse as to why. NewJeans' legal team continued to push back, stating that if you look at the evidence presented by ADOR, it's clear that the evidence is insufficient. They claimed that ADOR's argument lacks solid backing, just accusations. They admitted, however, that ADOR did in fact provide NewJeans with a list of producers to work with, and gave them the choice to choose. However, they emphasized that it is not the full extent of the company's responsibilities, meaning that doing that would be seen as the bare minimum from a managing company, mentioning that NewJeans didn't sign their contract just for a producer. They brought up the fact that ADOR said they met up with the producer by the name Hitchhiker, and said if they really did meet up with him, then they must also disclose what matters were discussed, and what were the outcomes of this meeting. At this point, there hasn't been any official response from ADOR addressing that particular claim. Another issue was raised during the hearing. The two sides clashed over a set of messages involving Min Hee-jin that ADOR plans to present NewJeans. Legal team objected, arguing that since the messages were downloaded arbitrarily from the server while conducting an illegal audit, there is a significant possibility of violating the Information and Communications Act. They followed up by stating that they request the court not to accept this evidence. The court acknowledged the concern and indicated that it would assess the legality of how this evidence was obtained before making a decision on whether to admit it. In defense, ADOR claimed that the audit had been conducted properly and legally. They clarified that the audit process was officially carried out, and that if there were concerns about consent, the provider of the evidence had already agreed to submit it. They also pointed out that the computer the messages were being taken from belonged to the company, not an individual employee, which means that data from it shouldn't be considered personal. Essentially, their stance is that since the device is company property, anything found on it can't be considered private or illegally obtained, pretty much saying that they had the right to access its contents. That's everything that's been reported so far on the situation. As both sides prepare for the next hearing, the stakes are only getting higher, and it's clear that this case is far from simple. What do you think of all this? Do you believe NewJeans have valid reasons for wanting to terminate their contracts? Or do you think ADOR is right in questioning the consistency of their claims? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any updates. I'll see you in the next video.